Awesome.
We are now recording.
All right,
Awesome.
I'm going to screen share.
Yep. Welcome everybody to tonight's Beauty Business Reset, episode 42. We have Philip and Mary Wilson visiting us again. I'm very happy about that. So is Andrew and James, as you can see by the pre-show. And welcome everybody. And Mary, Philip, it's all yours.
All right. Hi,
Thank you.
everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Well, we always say the pre-show is an awful lot of fun. So you guys always make us laugh. And like everybody, we're so grateful that Derek, you had this great idea. Derek and Andrew put it together. And then James, thanks for showing up every night and making everybody laugh and having a great time, having the best microphone. And so thank you for having us back.
So we thought about what we wanted to present this evening. And we're going to go through a PowerPoint with you, like the slides, and then just kick in with that. So why don't we
Get started.
Yeah, get started.
So over the weekend, some of you may have had an opportunity on Facebook or a forward from somebody to see the McKinsey report. And so I'm going to start tonight with what the McKinsey report was and some of the global beauty industry trends and what's happening with beauty. And then moving into how does that affect salons, and also how do we master retail, right? So everyone has been either shut down and are just coming back and really focused on getting the clients booked and getting the clients in and safety and cleaning between clients. And then there's oh, by the way, we also have product that we sell. So tonight we're going to circle back and say that retail is really important too. It could have been the thing that saved you during this time, right? So if you had ways to be able to retail in this time, it could have been maybe the only income that was coming in during COVID. So we're going to first look at what's happening in the global beauty market and what the projections are, and talk a little bit about that, and then go into retail. And then I'm going to finish tonight
Yes.
with talking about how to protect your own energy. We've been talking with so many friends over the last few weeks, apprehension about going back to the salon.
Tremendous.
And then just the exhaustion that's come with being back behind the chair and dealing with everyone's energy. And so I'm going to talk to you about, in addition to being in the beauty industry, I'm also a yoga teacher. I am an instructor. I also teach laughter yoga, and I do Reiki and energetic healing with crystals and oils. And part of that, one of the areas that I really was interested in and learned a lot about is the chakra energy system. So we're going to finish off tonight with a guided meditation. So I'm going to send you off to sleep by recharging your energy, and then give you some resources to keep doing that.
It's really cool.
Well,
Very cool.
thank you, Mr. Wilson. So what the data says is that the beauty industry overall, the global industry beauty market, which is a $500 million market, because so you can see on the graph here, is projected to drop 20 to 35%, which if you look at it being 500 billion, that's $175 billion in sales. So as you can see here, the global beauty market has continued to grow year after year after year. Even in the recession of 2008 to 2010, it was 3.5% to 4%, but there was still growth. And then the rest of the years, you can see we have 4.5% leading all the way up to this year. So there's no question, they say in the report, that this is an unprecedented attack on our economy, which we all know that. So that's not surprising. The question is how does that affect your business? So to start with, thinking about what was the percentage of sales that you enjoyed in retail prior to COVID, looking at how we're not likely to be able to allow clients to walk up and touch and feel the products, get close to them. So how are we going to, if you lose 20 to 35% of your retail sales, what can we do to make that up, or how can we improve that? Okay, so what does the data say? That in this time, so this was based on a survey that was done it was a 2-week period at the end of March and the beginning of April. So this is when the industry was shut down, basically. And so what they did is they looked at the whole beauty care market, and in that 4 weeks year to year over the previous year, as you can see, Hair care was actually strong. So there was an increase in hair care. Men's grooming, look at that, up 56%. Retail sales were up. So men's grooming, men's hair was growing. They needed gels. They needed product to put in their hair. You guys were talking about that earlier. And then skincare is still pretty good. Hair color up 172%. So we know that clients had to find solutions, and they chose to either do that online or to go to the drugstore and buy hair care. Then men's grooming, of course, is up. And then personal care, treatments, lotions, and then cosmetics were down. So people were working from home. They were not spending money on makeup or cosmetics. They might, throw on some lipstick for a Zoom meeting, but as we're now going out into the world and wearing masks, we're not going to see that influx of, we're not going to have the lipstick effect, which is known to be the fact that when times are tough over the years, even in war-torn times, people would invest in small luxuries instead of large luxuries. So they might not buy a new car, but they would go out and buy a lipstick. So what we're looking at here is possibly eyeliners, more brow, lash extensions. So these are the kinds of possible ways that people are going to be able to express themselves whilst they're wearing masks. And then also the fact that they want to have things that they can do at home. So we'll talk more about like what are consumers looking for. And then if you guys have any questions that come through or comments too. And also I will be happy to share the report with anyone that wants to receive it and read everything that's in it. Okay, so the intention to spend less on beauty products was definitely shared across nations. Obviously, the most important thing for people was the spending on groceries. Personal care products were still strong, so things that they needed, which would include hair care. And then skincare was down, but just above apparel. So the apparel market is going to be hit really, really hard. And I think that we already all know that. We should expect deep discounts because fashion is also so seasonal. So all these stores that have been closed are going to go into their end of season sales with a full stores. So there'll be opportunities for us to be able to shop then. So when we're talking about, we're talking about being in the salon for both cosmetics, skincare, and of course, spa and hair care, the opportunity to touch and explore on their own is currently going to be off limits, right? So the data, and this data was from the lockdown period. So what we want to be thinking about is how are we going to create that closer experience between the product and the person? And we're going to talk about some of the trends coming up. So now this is a completely separate piece of data, but it was in the report. So this comes from the McKinsey New Age of the Consumer generational study that they did in a survey that they did through the generations in 2019. And I think this is interesting because it talks about cosmetics and skincare. And I think skincare is probably the closest to hair care, because it does require some interaction and the opportunity for a recommendation. Whereas cosmetics might be more based on color or tone, or you can walk up to anywhere and make those choices. But as you can see here, what this study showed and what they found and reported in this study is that the brick and mortar opportunity to browse and to purchase is still important to consumers of all ages. So whether it is the baby boomer, the Gen X, the millennial, or the Gen Zers, look, it's still 32% browse in store and buy in store. And that was somewhat surprising because I think we have the perception that young people do everything online, and that this study shows that that's just simply not the case. Certainly baby boomers are more loyal and they're more involved in brick and mortar. And then as you can see, as it travels up, so 13 to 23 is the highest percentage that browse online and buy online. So they're basically saying that there are all these different touch points, whether you look in store and buy online, or you look online and go buy it at brick and mortar because you want to touch, taste, feel, or smell it. All of these interactions are important. And so the recommendation is still critical. So for salons, you are the expert. And I know we've talked about this in a lot of the different evenings and wonderful speakers, that unless you're recommending right now to 100% of your clients, 100% of the time, there is opportunity here. Because, and this is this is an unscientific study, but every time that we're with groups of friends that are consumers, I always ask them, does your hairstylist recommend products for you to use at home? And almost every time they say, I'm not sure anyone's ever recommended product for me. And we're always surprised, or we're not surprised, because, and when we go into salons and we're waiting to meet with the salon owner, we're of course at the front and we're watching the front desk and we're watching the experience and we're watching clients walk out the door, check out, and not be offered opportunities to purchase. Yeah. So we're going to talk tonight about a reminder. So none of this is new. We're going to talk about what does it take to have a culture, a retail culture, and how do you keep that retail culture active and continue to grow your business in that way. Okay, so first I want to get another subject out of the way. So this is my 2 cents on pricing, because every day I'm seeing these debates where people are attacking each other. So I want to be really neutral, and I want to say that the decision is personal. So I'm proposing that you, each person, and maybe if you've already made this decision, you're done, and you can defend it either way. But the questions that I believe that you should ask yourself about this is, what percentage of your profits are being affected by the cost, right, of PPE? So it's different for everyone. Some people are like, oh, well, I don't even have to buy more. I've always been this careful. Or I'm an independent stylist, or I have 2 or 3 people, and it's my friend made the masks. So what would it cost you? And number 2, what are your capacity restrictions when you return to your business? So last night, my heart just broke for the woman who was asking, and Stephen answered, what do I do? I can only operate at 50% capacity, and we did not make our day. It didn't happen. So what are your capacity restrictions on your business when you reopen, and how will that affect you? Number 3, are your clients employed? Are they working? Or are they currently unemployed? And what does your average client make? Do you have a good idea of what they're making? Then number 4, when was the last time that you raised your prices? So some people I raised my prices in January, I can't do it again. Some people said we were gonna raise our prices April 1st, and now we're waiting. So I think that's an important thing to think about. And then the last point is, how will I dialogue or justify this change? So being able to talk through with your management team, with your staff, and be able to explain why you need to do that and feel good about it. Either way, whatever decision it is that you make, get behind that and be able to dialogue why it's right for your business. So even if your decision is not to charge, then how are you going to make a big deal of that? Making a big deal of whatever you decide to do. Do you guys have any comments on that? Anything else you think?
I'm watching Derek's take.
Definitely.
Any questions?
I'm going to jump in there. And first thing, I'm going to have to apologize, because I lost my temper on the board the other night, because I had somebody was espousing not raising prices. Yeah. And my belief is, you do you, I'll do me, just like you said, right? And there's a reason before that. But if you're preaching your culture onto others, and it might be a wrong culture for them, or it might be a culture that puts them out of business, please don't. And that's the only reason I lost my temper on the board. I should have never done that unprofessionally. I apologize. But I will jump in when somebody espouses something that's going to hurt other salon owners, preaches it as if everybody should do it. It just creates that hamster wheel. And you know what? Know your numbers. Know what it takes you and your salon to run every day. And then I don't have to jump on and be a jerk. And I was a jerk. I'll admit it. Sorry, guys. But you know what? I'm not going to have it in our group where I have people leading a bandwagon that will hurt other owners. You do you, I'll do the numbers, do your business.
And listen, I saw it, and I will not comment much beyond that, because I know I saw a lot of it. I would say, if you don't know your numbers and you don't know how it's going to affect your business, I feel like you guys put together these 5 questions that ask it a little bit differently. But, your profitability before is obviously going to affect this. So if you came in and you said to me, hey, I had no idea what my numbers were prior to COVID, well, you should go back and look at them before you decide to chastise everybody that's going to add on a fee for a mask or something like that. Like, you can't just blindly say, I'm not raising my prices. Anybody that's on here, hopefully there's no clients. I am raising my prices as high as I possibly can raise them the day we go back. And I don't care if I call it a mask. I don't care if I actually wear a pumpkin on my head, like a jack-o'-lantern. Whatever it is, it's use the opportunity to kind of reconfigure your business, because that capacity issue is not going to go away anytime soon. Even if you open, you may get back to October, depending on your state, where you have to go back down to this limited capacity. So don't renege and second guess what your numbers are. But if you don't know your numbers, don't post anything, ever. If you don't know your numbers, don't post anything, ever.
Right. Get to work. Find out, understand your business.
But it's an individual
No, you're so
thing.
right. Yeah.
So that's where it came about. And Mary, that's where it came about, because somebody was pushing others to get on the I'm a hero, right? And I'm a hero because I'm not raising my prices. I'm sorry. You're a hero if you know how to run your business. We're in business to stay in business.
Right.
And most people, and you and Philip will know this probably better than everybody traveling. You know that most salon owners are undercharging already and don't know their numbers and should have raised their prices already. So now is the time to do it. Don't play the hero game just because I want to put a cape on for a cause that will put your business out of business. That's all I was trying to get across.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I wasn't even really, this wasn't geared at you. This was geared at me seeing so many chats on so many pages about this subject. And like you said, people just really getting so behind their decision, but it's more emotional than it is business. And I don't know that either, but whatever decision you make, allow everyone to do what's right for their business.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mary. And I ended that comment with running a business is not about emotion. It's about knowing your numbers.
Yes,
and if the numbers work for you, then fine. If they don't, and a person attacked me, and that's why I said I have to apologize, because I am considered, I guess our group is considered a thought leader, and I don't want to be like that with other salon owners, but factually, we go by facts, not emotions when we're running businesses.
Right.
And that's all I want our group to know. You do you do me, whatever your case is, whatever, you be you, but know your numbers. And if you need to raise prices, now is the time to do it. If you're cool and you're already making a great profit margin, by all means, play the hero.
Right. Make a decision that's right for you. Agreed. All right, let's move on. So building a culture of retail.
Well, let's hitchhike on what you said, Derek. We did find that when we got in that RV and we decided, and in 2 weeks into it, we're like thinking, holy shit, what are we doing? This is crazy. But as it sort of unfolded, as we said the last time we were on, we hit 43 states, almost 30,000 miles. And we were in salons all over the entire nation. And for me, as a salon owner, and best part of 50 years in the business, and I've seen this so much. And I look at some salons that we're in that were just incredible. And I thought, leaving, I just saw the most beautiful haircut. I just saw the most beautiful color application. And I accidentally, I think because I'm a curious George, then looking at what was the charge, what was the ticket for that service. And it blew my mind, thinking, my God, that should be far more than that. But then you look across, and the retail has always been, it's always been that part where people say, well, hairdressers don't know how to sell. They think sell's a 4-letter word. And you've got to work out what is the difference when you're doing 7 to 12% or those doing 35 or higher. We got to where, can I push this one on?
You may.
Great. I'm jumping a little ahead here because I want to still stay on this for a moment. When JP and I had our salons in Vancouver, and for people that know Vancouver, it is a very expensive international city. It is really, right, Andrew? It is one of those cities that is just incredibly forward thinking. It's won Architectural City Designs of the Year all over the world. And we had a salon downtown on Georgia Street, and the rent was astronomical. And I had 35 stylists, 6 colorists, 2 receptionists, and a very good clientele. And one woman in particular, her name was Jean Carruthers. Her and her husband were well-known plastic surgeons, but she was one of the forward-thinking into the Botox world. And I went to her office one day. I wanted to just say hi to her, so I popped in. And as I walked past her reception, I'm sort of looking and I thought, what is that? And there were these little bags, beautiful little bags with, you know, different color paper in the top. And I thought, what is that? And so I said to her, so what do you do there? She goes, once we've created a service, I allocate a certain bag of what I've used on that person. And then they go up and purchase from the retail area or from the reception. And I thought, oh my God, what? So JP and I started this and we called it Brown Bag Day. We really couldn't, well, I just want to say it now. All right. But we specialized in our brands. We never went crazy on. We were that sort of place that did, as you can see here, 2 to 4 retail brands, but we knew those brands. We knew exactly what they could do. We knew exactly we could stand behind them. And I think that that's something that if you trained your stylist on, hypothetically, you had 3 brands. And the brands were for chemically treated, for curly or wavy hair, or for a natural hair. You knew exactly how to cater that for your clientele. Whereas I've been in some locations where they've got 16 retail brands. And I think no one can understand those. Mm-hmm. It's not possible. So we would like sniper. Yeah. With us, it was 3 brands. And we knew exactly what they were all about, and so did our staff. So we did create a pretty healthy retail environment.
So when we were on the road, we really could tell as soon as we walked into a salon if they had a culture of retail or not. So a culture of retail means that they have systems in place that create that. So what we saw, and this is based on what we saw, was the really successful salons either had between 2 and 4 brands and a limited staff, but everybody was committed to understanding and really living and breathing those brands, or they had square footage in the front, they carried multiple lines, they had beautiful, consistent signage, and they had 3 to 4 people working the desk, right? And a back area that was booking appointments. So there's really, what we're really sharing here is that we don't believe there's an in-between. No, to be really successful, you need to be one or the other. If you try to cherry pick and have a hodgepodge of different kinds of shelving, and you've got a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and not really a system where people are selling, then you're probably not going to have the kind of success that you want.
No, and you know, a good point to that too, guys, is that if you don't carry the complete line, people are, like you look at the slides before about your up and comers, right? Your millennials, your Gen Xers, your Gen Zs that are going to look online. If they come to you and you recommend something to them and you don't carry it because you say, oh, well, we love everything except the hairspray in that line. If your shelves are not deep enough and you have to buy 2 of them to fill it, count it as a decoration and write it off. Yeah. You need to make sure whatever you carry, you have the complete line. Otherwise, it's just ridiculous.
And that goes back to the information that they may have done the research online and then they come in to buy it, right? Yeah. Or they go to the salon locator and they find you and they come in and then you don't have that line anymore, that's up to the companies to clean those up. Or you just have a few pieces and they can't actually get the line, which also hurts you too. So. And
we experienced that, James, in the initial stages of focusing on our retail. We were focused purely on the staff, on the service, which obviously you have to do, but the retail was a secondary factor. And we realized we were losing. We realized that that real estate in the reception area was extremely valuable, as you well know. And we got to when you do 2 brands, 3 brands, and you carry the entire line, you do have that service strength.
Yeah. And it's just easier to train as well. So you can expect your staff to know. Absolutely. And then often, you know, you'll have opportunities for some of your staff to become educators with those brands. And then they really become the advocate. You know, one of the things that I've really noticed is that in each salon, so let's say you have a staff of 10, that even if 2 to 3 people are really excited about one brand, that's actually enough. You know, so it gets that it curates that
Mhm.
excitement around it.
Yes.
And they're sort of the leaders, and then they're the ones that are selling, and everybody is like, wow, how did you sell that? And then they get to learn from them. So it's not like everybody has to be on board with every brand, but it is important that you have those strong people.
Right.
Hey, Mary,
right.
Okay.
Mary, Philip, I have a quick question. This is something that frustrates me as a coach when I go into salons. Okay, people have these full shelves, product everywhere, but there's no shelf talkers that say curly hair, frizzy hair, dry hair, right? The simple things are not listed in there, and that drives me absolutely ballistic. Can you talk to that for a second?
Well,
Yeah, it's
when
important.
we did that, we got a retail specialist from the Hudson Bay Company who worked for something like Bobbi Brown or MAC. She was the manager of the cosmetic, and she was a client of mine. I said, look, is there any way that you could help us understand more about retail? She goes, well, first of all, I would get a very large garbage bag and put it all in there and start again. Because I'm confused, as you said, Derek, when I go to your reception, I have wavy hair. But sometimes I want to blow dry that out and iron it. I don't know where to go, what to do, what is the area I should be in. Where she says, I'd like the two of you to come over to my counter, at the cosmetic counter, and everything is aligned with perfection, labeled. This is for that, this is for there. Sensitive skin, go to here. Skin that you don't want to really over-process or moisturize, go to here. And she helped us create a retail area that became very, very financially viable. Purely one strong factor was what you just said. People knew where to go and what to purchase because they had indicators.
Yeah, and it is important. I think too that like anything retail, you can't just walk up to the shelf. Customers don't know,
Yeah.
right?
Not everybody, can see those little tiny prints, right? Without their goggles on, right?
Right,
So
right.
It just leads them where they need to be very quickly.
For sure. Yeah.
But I agree with what you're saying.
And simple.
That's a necessity.
Yeah. And it's helpful to have the price on it too. So the client knows what something costs. So they can see what is the name of the product, 2 or 3 bullet points, and then what is the size and what is the cost. Yeah. So we do have shelf talkers for our brand. And then going back to what James said too, you want to carry the full brands, but unfortunately over the years that might not even be possible because some of the large brands have just grown to the point, sorry, I've got a hair on my mouth. Some of the large brands have grown to a point where it's just insane for you to be able to do that. So, taking that into consideration too.
But as Mary said, relating to receptionists, we then got into, as we grew that area, we got into someone that just specialized in the retail. And it made a huge difference. So once someone came up,
they could talk to them.
They could talk to them and say, please come this way. This is is what was used. And we noticed a dramatic increase in our retail. We became at that stage with this one particular manufacturer, largest seller in Canada.
So all the great salons that do a lot of retail also, I mean, it's not surprising, but they really show that they care about their customers and they're focused on providing everything that they need for beauty. So they find out what their customers like and they help them make those choices. So do you have data pre-COVID and have an understanding of who's coming into your business? What are they looking for? What is the spending average? And then how can you market to them? So whether it be through texting or through emailing, we're going to talk a little bit more about what we see as trends, COVID now, the fact that clients can't walk up to the shelf and look at the product. But again, second time we're saying this, the data shows that customers want us to recommend to them.
Without a doubt.
So you want to talk about the customer experience?
So basically, we got into when clients use things on clients, the curiosity is, what did you use? And as Mary said earlier on, they get to where they love the atmosphere that's created, the candles. I mean, it was the girl, as I said, go back to the one that came over from the cosmetics store. She goes, when you burn candles, it creates this aroma, this environment, sense. Hot towel wrap. we ended up getting these, and you get them in the barber stores, but towel wraps that we would just put over the top of a hair treatment and hand massaging. And it got to where we started to do a lot more in our services than just cut hair. And you could see the benefit of it. And then when they came from that area into the station, we used to have these little silver attachment tables. They were quite small. They weren't big at all, but they had like a bar that went underneath and attached to the station. And they would pull out like on a little telescopic arm, and there would be the products sat on that station. And you would say to the client, this is what I've used. This is what I recommend for you at home. And it got to where we started to do, as I said, that brown bag day. So when they went from the station to the checkout, we created brown bag day because we couldn't afford what this cosmetic group had, which was these freaking fancy bags and all this. So we went across to Target and bought a bag of them and then put like the paper in the top that represented what the colors were of the products we had in the retail area. And those bags were waiting for the clients. This is what Philip recommended for you at home. And it started that journey. Retail started to pump. And from the checkout area, that was the money generated. And it was always that full service all the way through.
So again, this is pre-COVID, right? So all the great salons that we've been in create the atmosphere. So what we're saying here is that it doesn't just happen at the end where you go, oh, I should sell them something, right? So the entire process is a system in the salon that every stylist goes through with every client, from the moment they walk into the salon to the fact that they're at the back bar, when you're having the experience at the back bar with the scent and you're talking about that as you're massaging and working the shampoo and conditioner treatments into the hair onto the station for styling. And then as they check out, and as Philip said, and one of the ideas that we've seen coming about here is that you have these pre-made gift bags, 3 or 4 different sets that you're ready to provide to the client and at checkout. So that, because they can't touch the product, if you have these special made bags and say, we put this assortment of products together for you, you know what your top mixes are, you have them already ready to go, or at least you have the bags up there. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that as well from one of our online friends. Yeah.
Another thing that we also did was we would get our stylist to sort of like pre-book, as like you were saying, Derek, about when you go into a doctor. I want to see you at this time. These are the appointments available. Which one would you like? But this is the time that I need to see you back. But we used to also do it through a creative aspect where we would say, or I would get into with my clients, I'm going to leave the bangs a little longer this time. But the next time you come in, I'm going to take them a bit shorter. And then I'm going to sort of working with the invisible serrated scissors and working and texturize it. And I always forecast the next appointment. I constantly got them all the time saying, and then they would get to where, well, what are we doing next time? And don't forget that. And I say, no, will not forget. And I used to get down to when it was the time of the year of saying little highlighting around the front, because it's a time of year with spring, give a good skin tone to it. I always upselled, and I always got them or got to plan what the next appointment looked like.
And the next one after that.
And the next one after that. Yeah. And it just went basically 3 to 6 months out. Mm-hmm. I could definitely know when they were coming back in and what services they were getting.
Right, because, and I love watching Philip do this, because he'd be like, well, the next time you come in, we're going to do this. So maybe your hair is here now, and then we're going to go to here, then we're going to go to here, and then we're going to take it all off again. And they'd be like, yeah, that's great. So creating that story for the client.
You know, so Philip, by the way, that's brilliant. And it has a lot to do with what Mary's going to speak to later, which is called energy.
Right.
Because you left them envisioning, and you left them excited.
Yes.
And they envisioned coming back. And they saw that you were excited, and you ignited that desire to have something even newer than what they had today. It's brilliant.
Well, a thing also, Andrew, was I always taught the staff that, remember, shadow is created from above, not below. So when a client would say, well, isn't that a little short that you're working, giving me that individual front? And I would say, I'm going to sit the fabric just slightly on top of the cheekbone so I can flare the cheekbone. I can give you symmetry. And oh my God, do it. And they'll be like, oh, what next? And I don't want this to be too long, because what it's going to do, it will shrink the shoulders down. I want to elongate the neck and give you the, and I did all this. And all within the service. They go straight to the reception saying, what's he got available? I've got to get back in. They weren't even out the salon yet. But it's old. I mean, like I said, I've been doing it like with Nick and I've been doing it 50 years. And when we were trained, you weren't trained in just cutting hair. You were trained in all aspects of the industry. What is it you're going to do on that client? And the person, the grandmasters that trained us, you'd say, well, I'm going to cut a bob. Why? Well, because I think she wants a bob. You don't think. Do you know? They're putting in profile. Are you taking her head shape, her shoulders? What clothes? What's her favorite color? What's her makeup? What jewelry does she like to wear? All of these things added up to that we were the frickin' bee's knees, and we knew what we could do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well done, Mr. Wilson. Okay, so salon marketing now trends. So post-COVID. So yes, if you're doing all those things with every client, creating the atmosphere, creating the experience at the back bar station, and selling up front and asking every person to buy, then you're doing a great job. And so here are some trends that are showing up right now. Obviously, for all salons, the first thing we're selling is safety and cleanliness. So everything that you can do to promote how you are getting certified, the signs you're going to put up in your salon. Rowena Yeager, our friend in Ohio, made hearts with beautiful messages on different places where you can stand instead of those boring circles. So like, what's your brand and how can you articulate that in your signage and your communication? Social media, community building, and authenticity. So this is a huge trend that's rolling out of this time. And it's super exciting because more and more people have gotten comfortable getting in front of the camera, and you should be too. And how you communicate with and talk with your clients about what's to come, whether you are yet to open, and there are states that are yet to open, and there are states that are just opening, that we want to continue. So if we're ever in this place again, that we have that dialogue on social, and of course that we have all of our emails of all of our clients. And then I loved this last night, early this morning, actually, I saw Francesca Rivetti, who is from Pennsylvania. So she's in a state that is not open yet, and she's doing everything she can to prepare her clients to be ready. So, and she might be another month out yet. And so what she's been doing is she's been doing Skype calls, not Skype, I'm sorry, she's doing FaceTime calls with her clients so that she can see their hair and she can see their hair color. Because we know that this coloring your hair trend at home happened. It's happened, it's happening. And so I was literally laying in bed this morning thinking, how does somebody know how to book color, having an expectation of what their client was like before, and then they come in and it's a totally different thing. And I even saw people say that they had to turn people away because they thought they were coming for a 2-hour color and it would have been a 4-hour. So she is taking these quick visual meetings with all of her clients, saying, I want to take a look at your hair so we can plan your appointment.
That's so smart.
And I think it's brilliant.
That's brilliant.
And so of course, if you have a huge staff, hopefully you can assign your stylist to do that with each of their clients. So they have their client list and they can figure out approximately how much time and then send it over to the booker, or if you're booking for yourself. But I thought that was absolutely brilliant. And she's also saying, let me know what products we can pull for you that day so that we have it ready for you when you come in and you can enjoy 20% off your total purchase. And so I just think that she's doing a spectacular job. So congratulations. And then of course, selling packages, experiences, maybe things that are going to happen down the road, but they'll purchase it now. I know Patty Mead had talked a lot about that. Some of our other speakers have talked about how to create and brand packages that you're selling in your salon. And then of course, anything that's spa and home care. So anything that people can do themselves. If you can get some of those, if you can find professional masks that they can put on at home, or things that they can do for self-care at home. That's a huge trend right now. So thinking about what do you have that could be sent home, of course, candles, any kind of bath support products, lotions, all those things, because we are spending more time at home and pampering ourselves there. And then of course that leads into the opportunity to sell online. So whether you sell yourself online, whether you sell through brands that you're connected to and that's linked to your site. As all of you know, we advocate here in this group too for the Salon Interactive platform. So Jim Bauer was on here a few weeks ago and we just launched this past week. They have the basic platform is an opportunity for
it's
you
awesome.
to sell 24/7 at home. So you sign up, it takes about 5 to 7 minutes to sign up. You are able to then get a page that is uniquely yours, you link it back to your own website and begin to sell. And so it's a super easy way to do that. You can also upload your email list and use their program, which is called Client Connect, but you can also empower your company. So if you're working with us and you have your email list, you can then give us the ability or the power to send emails on your behalf. They still go from you, not from us, but they would, so for example, this would be an introductory opportunity here. And a little selling on our side, because we are a direct company, we're giving 35% commission back to salons. And we also online on our own website and through Salon Interactive, we sell our products for $4 higher per SKU. And that is also recognized and enjoyed by the salon when somebody buys online, so through Salon Interactive. So if you'd like to learn more about that, we would love for you to connect with us and we can help you learn about that.
I love it.
I love it too. It's super cool.
And they'll only be purchased in Wilson Collective.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about how education has changed.
Now, what we've created is basically the Wilson method. The gathering.
These are things that aren't going to happen.
This is probably the most depressing one that I've seen. I don't know, James, how your team and your wife feel about it, but gathering in groups, that's done. Midwest show, Javis at New York show. Everybody it's just the group thing has, in my opinion, gone away for a while. Mm-hmm. And then you get that with the fears of them were traveling. I mean, even Mary and I were thinking we'll hit the Midwest and then we'll fly back. And I'm thinking, well, I'd rather not fly, because then you see everybody on the planes, they got the masks on, then you hear someone was ill, even with all the precautions they're taking. And so it's changed. It's changed dramatically. And as you'll see, the new normal has gone. So we've created what you can see on there, Up Close and Personal, and it's an interactive introduction to the Wilson method. And the Wilson method, if you saw it the first time that we were on, it's fast, precision, architectural cutting. It's done extremely quick, and it's framing. So the frame is based in, then it gives you time to go in and personalize it. So we're doing that. Basically, Mary goes through the basics, right? And then from there, we create destination.
So we also do,
rejuvenation.
About a month ago, we normally every year, Destination Rejuvenation is a retreat that's held in Laguna Beach. And Mincy, Jaton, and I, in Laguna Beach every year.
Okay. I want it in the desert.
You want it in, okay. So Destination Rejuvenation is a retreat, and obviously people couldn't travel. So we actually did that via Zoom. So we did a 2-day live experience. And then Ann and I have been doing these retreats for years. And then about 4 years ago, people said, you know what? I like the way the two of you present. You're very different, but you're both great presenters. And so we decided to create a presentation skills program, and Philip is part of that too. So Up Close and Personal. So basically the category of Up Close and Personal is that you can be live and you can experience that live, and that people are way more willing to do that than they were 2 months ago. And so that's exciting, and it allows us to deliver that platform. And then the other way, of course, that you can receive exceptional education is self-paced pay by the month membership. So for example, our friend Elaine Travis at the Expert Color Solution. So she has a
She's awesome.
small monthly fee, and she has a library of incredible color education. And of course there's all kinds of things that are available from different companies as well too. But we see that this is the future of education. We don't, almost every big salon that we've talked with said we've canceled all live education for the remainder of the year, because you just can't make plans and then have them not work out.
That's unbelievable.
So here's what's next. Here's what's next from us. So we do have 2 dates that are now available on our website for the introduction to the Wilson method. So that's what Philip was talking about. What we do is we take you through basically a full day from start to finish of working with the Wilson method on long hair, understanding the tools. The combs and brushes are part of the class. And then you have the experience of going then into the different lengths of bobs and the Philip Wilson bobs that we can use the method for. So it's an all-day class that starts in the morning and finishes in the early afternoon. And many people have been through that. Have been through that class since we've been in COVID. We've mastered it. We have a lot of fun doing it. We can help coach people right on the screen. And what's interesting is that we feel like people are more comfortable too, because they're not looking at what other people are doing. They're just working in their own space and they're working with their own mannequins. There's not a lot of distraction. So it's been really cool. If you are new to our brand and you're interested in getting started with us, we actually have an intro package that offers that class for free. So we have a Sunday in June, we have a Monday in July. And then in August, we are doing a Zoom live of I Am a Great Presenter. And we have a
Yes.
We have a website, which is iamagreatpresenter.com, and you can find out all the details about that. It's going to be split over 3 Mondays in the month of August, with some coaching involved in the middle of that too. So, and of course, if you're not already connected to us, I know a lot of you are, and we appreciate that. Our website is wilsonhaircollective.com. And then our Facebook group is Wilson Collective Pros Only. So if you're already a member of Wilson Hair Collective, you've already been accepted as a member, you have full access to all of this information. And we do the updates on what we're doing educationally on the Wilson Collective Pros Only page. And the reason that we do that is we don't believe in putting professional education out on Instagram. So you have to apply to be part of that group.
Pros
and
only.
it is only for pros.
Yeah.
So before
Hey guys, you've got a couple people asking if they've never carried your products before and they want to get involved with getting Salon Interactive and carrying your products. Can they do that without minimum orders, getting started right away, that kind of thing?
Yes. In fact, because we have only 6 SKUs, we actually have an opening order that is just over $200. So yes,
Beautiful.
very,
And
very.
where would they learn how to sign up for that?
So they would go to our website and join the collective first, and then I will contact them with the details for that. Yeah, and that opening order, what we did is we paired the combs and brushes with that, so you would get the free class basically for
really,
one, and then
really.
of course multiples. Yeah, so all you have to do then is buy the combs and brushes, because we know that it works, and we know that people are excited about sharing the technique. As Philip said, one of the things when this first happened, we were thinking, wow, our technique helps people work faster. And I know we have Cindy on here tonight, and I know Nikki's on here, and people that we have worked with and have had an opportunity to experience it, many of you. And every day we talk to people like, I use your technique, and I worked 15 minutes faster. I knocked the back end, and the client was excited. And so it's not just about doing something different, but it's also about working faster and more efficiently. So it's exciting too. Okay. So now we're going to shift gears. So shall I excuse you?
Yes.
Or would you like to stay here?
No, I want to, because Andrew's been looking forward to this.
He has been looking forward
Yes.
to this. You're right.
Are you ready, Andrew?
All right.
I'm ready, mate.
So I'm just going to pull this in a little closer.
All right.
Okay, so now I want you to take off your salon owner hat, and I wanted you to put on your human hat.
change anything?
No, I think we're fine. I don't know if maybe take the lighting down a little bit. It doesn't matter, and we're going to talk about your energy. So as again, I get a lot of information. Oh, thank you. That's very nice. No, a little more. Cool. Thank you. That's great. It's important as we are going back into the salon. So first we had to manage our energy when we had to stay at home and not know when we're going to be able to go back to work, right? And so we're at all different stages of that. But most of the country is now in some way back to work. And what I am hearing and seeing from all of my friends is that they're completely exhausted. And that what's happening is that the clients are coming in some cases, they are the first person that you are the first person that they have seen since they went underground, right? So how many people would say you've had that experience? Probably a lot of you. And so what happens is that when the client comes in, there is just this outpouring of energy. And in some cases, it might be positive and it might be upbeat and they're grateful. And in some cases, it's completely the opposite. And they want to talk about the conspiracy theories and why they shouldn't have to wear masks and why everyone is crazy. And I'm sure you can come up with 100 other things that you've heard that will even shock some of us. So what I want to share with you is how to energetically protect yourself and also how to help your staff to be able to do that. So, and before COVID, I want you to think about that person that would be on your books, and as soon as you would see them, your temperature would go up, right? And your heartbeat would start to go faster and you'd think, oh, this is going to be challenging. This is going to be tough. And so now what's happening is we probably are having that with every client because we have to sanitize in between. We have to re-clean everything and make sure everything is ready for our next client. And so what I want you to do is I want you to be able to protect yourself energetically. And so these are the things that I want you to consider. So before you go into the salon, make sure that you have an A+ attitude yourself, that you're expecting great things to happen today, that you're expecting that you're going to create beautiful hair. And then the second one is creating that atmosphere. So creating that atmosphere that is calm, that you become the calm. Everything else gets left in the car when you close that car door, and that you're available to each client. And so during the day, as you're working with each client, you have to go through that process again. And so what you can do is if you have a few minutes, you want to sit and have both of your feet flat on the ground so that you're grounded. Place your hands on your legs, roll your shoulders back, and take a deep breath. Take a couple of deep breaths, close your eyes, give yourself a break. Maybe you can step outside. I know salons are putting chairs out or areas where stylists can go to take a real breath, to take off the mask, and just be present and move that energy through you. So what we can do between clients is you want to cleanse that energy. So if someone did load you down with a bunch of information that is making you feel heavy or sad or overwhelmed, is to imagine that you can just take white light from the top of your head and push all of that energy down through your body. So let it come out through your hands, down through your feet. And this can be done in 2 to 3 minutes, but you just make sure that you're doing that between each client. And then contain those feelings if you do have feelings yourself, right? So many people said, I cried 3 times today. And then they said, I actually cried 4 times today. So it's an emotional time for everyone. And so try to contain that by doing this between each client, because if you don't, then it builds up, right? Then all of a sudden you're like, I'm bursting into tears and I don't know why. And then communicate with your team, with each other. Find that one person that at the end of the day, you can say, wow, today was really emotional, or here's how I'm feeling. So you want to contain it during the day, but you want to be able to communicate it after and then release it so the next day you can come back. One of the things too that I've heard a lot of people say is that they feel this obligation to get clients in. And I will say that 9 times out of 10, that pushy person that gives you a really hard time and you work really hard to squeeze in is going to be that person in your day. And so if your gut says that this is what you can do in a day, then really hold those boundaries and say, I know you want to get your hair done. This is what I can do today. So and again, that people who are doing a great job of rebooking are going all the way back and saying, this was who was on the books the day that we close, and we're working from there. Or we will call you, don't call us, right? So, and I think that's working. And I think that's helping people be able to manage it. The other thing, if you're not back yet, that I've heard people say is that it's almost 10 to 15 minutes on the phone with each client as you're rebooking too. So maybe doing that where you're actually seeing them and you're focused on their hair will stop them from wanting to tell you about what's going on in their life. That thought just occurred to me. So maybe we can really focus on the hair. Haley Gregory, who is someone that's been doing a lot of training with us and just started with our brand. She's amazing in Tennessee. And she said that what she's doing is she's focusing the conversation on all the things that she learned while she was in quarantine. And she goes right into the hair. So she's really focused on the hair and caring for the client and how she's bringing this to them. So block other energy. So this is a little review of what we just talked about. Block others' energy with an energetic shield. So if somebody's coming in that you know is going to be difficult, just imagine that you're putting like a titanium shield, whatever you think the strongest metal is, that you put this shield around yourself so that their energy just bounces right back to them. Clear between each client. Breathe and do this energy work where you're releasing anything that you feel is caught up in your body. And then the third point here that I haven't talked about yet, and I love this analogy, is if somebody is venting and they're telling you about how horrible their experience was during COVID, or their thoughts, if it's politics or whatever it is that maybe you don't necessarily agree with, imagine that you're just a screen door. So it's summer and you've opened your wooden door and you've got your screen door where the air can just flow back and forth through that. So you let the energy go right through you instead of absorbing into you. Ann Mincy talks about how important the relationship is with your open heart. Is you're right by the client's head, right? So your heart is the thing that they're going to feel. And we want to keep that open, but not store that energy in ourselves. And then, of course, diverting the conversation to hair and to their personal care, as opposed to the other things that maybe we're not as comfortable talking about. Okay. Anything you guys want to add to that? We're good? Okay, so the chakra energy system, the first few times I studied this, I could never remember what they were. And I was like, I'm never going to understand this. And then all of a sudden one day, it just kind of made sense to me. So if you see in this picture, chakra, the chakra energy, I like to think of it in a more kind of modern way, is that each one of us is our own power plant. And so if you're a power plant and you've got all these different points that are coming off of you and you're running at 100% efficiency, then all is well, right? But if there's a lightning strike and one of these areas or one part of your energy plant is impacted, then everything else has to make up for that, or you have a reduction in that energy. And so the chakra energy system is not, it's connected to the human body, but it's more outside of it. And it has to do with how we feel about the things that have happened in our lives. So, and sometimes it's even past lives, but we're going to stay in this lifetime and say that a lot of things happened to us over the years. And if we don't release them, if we don't forgive them, if we don't recognize that it caused us emotional challenges, then it gets stored in the body and eventually will cause disease. So dis-ease that causes disease. And so each of these colors represent a different energetic field that are connected to different parts of our human experience. And so if we start at the bottom, the root chakra has everything to do with things from our hips on down to our feet. So if you trip a lot, if you have knee problems or hip issues, it could be that your root chakra is not grounded and balanced. Then we go up to the orange, which is our sacral chakra. So the root chakra is really important right now because it's everything that has to do with safety, money, family, all the things that, so everybody's root chakra is probably out right now and you don't feel connected or grounded. And so you want to get out in nature if you can, walk barefoot, get out with trees, hang out in nature so that you feel more connected to the earth. That will help you to be in your body and more grounded with the root chakra. The sacral has to do with our sense of sensuality, sexuality, how we see ourselves. Do you see yourself as a beautiful body or not? Creativity lives here. So if you have issues there, you might also not consider yourself creative. Then we go up to the yellow, which is the sacral chakra, and that has to do with our sense of self, our sense of purpose. Are we doing what we were sent here to do? Are we really connected with our inner child and also with our soul? So are we really, and also do we feel like someone else has power over us, or we have to have power over other people? So this is where codependent relationships can live and can affect that. So if you feel like you don't have power over your own life, you could have some blockage in that sacral chakra area. And then we move up to the heart, which is this beautiful green color. And we all have to work really hard to keep an open heart. It's been one of the most important things in this time too. And that is where love lives, loving relationships, openness to loving everyone and feeling that sense of love, even towards people who maybe you don't feel it towards at that time, but keeping your heart open is really important. And then we move up to the throat chakra. So the throat chakra is actually, so if you kind of try to swallow right now, you might see how that feels as you're swallowing. This has to do with our feelings towards being heard. So when you speak, do you feel like you articulate yourself in a way that people really understand, or do you sometimes not speak up? Do you not say what you think because you don't believe that you will be listened to or that you'll be understood? So if we have blockages in the throat, you could have issues with your throat. If you're coughing all the time, or if you have a really dry throat, it might be that your sacral chakra is blocked and needs to be cleared. And then, so these are all the spiritual on the top and the physical on the bottom. So then when we move up to the third eye, this is our intuition. So that's when you're driving somewhere and you say, I knew I should have went the other way. There was going to be a problem here. Or your gut tells you. So this is kind of that connection with listening to your inner self and paying attention to signs, or all the time. We're all doing it all the time. We say, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Or I knew I shouldn't have dated that person, or I knew I shouldn't have taken that job. But we don't listen to our intuition. So tapping into that and keeping that open and clear and being willing to listen. And then on the top is the energy, receiving the energy. So this is a beautiful white light that can pour in through the crown chakra. So this is how we get regenerated. And so tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask everyone to close your eyes, and I'm going to take you through a brief meditation to clear the chakras. So everyone should be sitting upright. So if you're in the East Coast and you're in bed, you might want to at least just sit upright, so we have the channel of energy running from the top down and from the earth back up again. Yes, Mr. Wilson, good pose over there. And also, before we do that though, because I want to finish with that so everybody's in a peaceful place when we finish, is if you look on here, there is a really cool 56 question quiz that will help you identify what areas might be blocked for you. So this was created actually in Holland by a Dutchman, and it is, you answer the questions on how you're feeling right now. And I've taken it multiple times and I always have the same thing. So I'm like, I'm going to try to answer it differently this time, and then it comes back the same. So it'll tell you what might be blocked, what is overactive, and we can talk another time about overactive areas. You can have an overactive heart, so you got to, sometimes rein that in. But it'll help you to see if you're like, I don't know, you might already know, like, oh, my roots is where I need to work. But in this case, when you answer these questions, it's really cool, and it gives you this graph and it tells you. So I would highly recommend that. All right, so I want everyone to sit with your feet flat on the floor, or on. You can sit cross-legged if you're seated. That's fine too. If you're in a chair, we want you to put your feet on the floor. And I want you to place your hands. So take your hands and place them face down on the top of your legs. And then just roll your shoulders back and lift your spine as high as you can. So get a little bit of lift in your stance. So we're sitting straight. You can lean against a wall or against the couch or a headboard, whatever is most comfortable for you. And then if you would just close your eyes, just very gently let your eyes close. And then just begin to take some deep breaths. Nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Bring your hands over your heart and continue the breath, feeling your chest rise and fall. Nice deep breaths, coming fully present into your body. And now imagine that through the bottoms of your feet and through the bottoms of your hips, you can grow roots that push down into the earth. So through the floor, wherever you are, push those roots down and down and down into the earth. Keep focusing on your breath as you do that. And as you do, and you push these roots closer into the center of the earth, all of us that are on this call tonight come closer together. Because as we travel to the center, we can meet there and find that support of the earth. And now bring your vision right out in front of your pelvic area, just above your tailbone, and begin to see a beautiful red glow there. So a beautiful, bright red glow, and see it as an orb. And begin to spin it in one direction. It does not matter which direction, it's your choice. With your eyes closed, see the red orb and begin to spin it. And as you do, know that you are completely supported. You have everything that you need, and you'll receive everything that you need. The earth is plentiful. You are safe. And all is well. As you spin that red orb, notice the color that it is and see if there's any sparks that want to fly off the edges. So any fears that you might have about the future, about now, family, money, where you live, how you live, allow those to release energetically as you spin the orb. Allow those sparks to fly off and clean up that root chakra energy. And now take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, bring your attention just above that, right out in front of your belly button, and see a beautiful orange glow there, connected to your sacral chakra. Almost like an orange growing on a tree, and begin to spin that orb in the exact same direction that you did your root chakra. So now you'll have a beautiful red orb with the beautiful orange one above it. And as you do, know that you are beautiful, attractive, creative, filled with love and plenty to offer. Cleaning up all those internal organs. Begin to spin that orange orb and release off of it any sparks of doubt, past relationships that might hold you back from being all that you can be. Create that beautiful orange glow. Now take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, bring your attention above there, straight out between your front ribs, and see this beautiful glow like the sun, and bring that glow into a yellow orb and begin to spin that in the same direction. Make that connection with your sense of self. You have full and complete power over yourself. No one else has power over you. Begin to spin that orb in the same direction as those below it, letting any sparks fly off. Anyone that you feel is holding you back, or anyone that you feel like you need to have power over in this world, release as you spin that beautiful yellow orb. Now, taking a deep breath in, bring your attention just above that to your heart again. Feeling your heartbeat, see a beautiful green glow emerge out of that and rest just above the other orbs. This is the connection between the higher chakras and the lower chakras. The heart is everything. Feel the heartbeat in your feet. Feel your heartbeat in your fingertips. You are your heartbeat. The heart is the center of it all. Allow it to open and glow. Beautiful green light. Begin to spin it in the same direction as the others. And allow any sparks to fly off that hold you back from being your full, open, loving self. Any past relationships, scars, walls built up, break them down and spin that beautiful green orb that opens up your heart chakra and fuels those below it and up through the earth again. So send energy down from the heart into the earth and back up again. Feel the power of that energy that is yours. And now take a deep breath in and swallow. Bringing your attention to your throat chakra. So this beautiful turquoise light that slips right out in front of you at your neck level. Begin to spin that turquoise glow as you clear out your throat chakra. You are heard. What you have to say is important. People want to hear what you have to say. Allow yourself to articulate in ways that are kind and helpful, using your words, sometimes sparingly, sometimes with force, but always with kindness. Allow yourself to be heard. If you have any feelings that are different than that, spin that orb, see if there's any sparks that fly off of it. Allow that to clear. Now, taking a deep breath in, bring your attention up to the third eye. See that third eye right between in the center of your two eyes and turn it inward. You might feel a little lightheaded here. Allow an openness to information that you know, that energetically you receive. Keep that third eye open. Turn it back towards the front again and make sure that that third eye is open as you look out at a beautiful amethyst purple orb and begin to spin that. It might spin a little faster. It might be a smaller orb, but keep it going in the same direction as the throat chakra and the heart. So all three are spinning together. And now with another deep breath in, bring your attention to the top of your head and imagine that there is a trap door there and you can blow it off. So open up that door and imagine that there's bright white light coming in now. And that bright white light is energy from spirit, God, Mother Earth, whatever you believe in. And even if it's just planetary energy, allow that to come in through the top of your head and work its way down through all the chakras, restoring, revitalizing, and repowering to 100%. all the way down through the third eye, into the throat, into the heart. Let that energy sit in your heart for a minute and then send it all the way down into the earth. Feel the power of that energy. And then as you bring it back up through your body, bring those roots back up and into your feet and into your sits bones very gently as you move that white light back up through the root and all the way up to the crown, and then send it back down to the root again. So be able to send that energy up and down, opening, clearing, restoring. Take a deep breath in. Bring your hands to heart center and bow your head into your hands. And you can open your eyes. Namaste.
Beautiful.
Would you like to come back?
Beautiful.
And that completes our evening.
You know, Mary, that was so, I already knew this was coming. It was so relaxing. I think that I'm going to have to kind of blip out that recording and play it over the loudspeaker in our salon when we open. But as someone that's a rule follower, let me know when to breathe next time, because I'm holding in between different chakras and I'm like, is this lady going to try to suffocate me? What is she doing? I'm like, I'm seeing lights and there's sparks flying all over the place over here. Like, just tell me when to breathe.
Oh, so you said breathe in, but not breathe out. Take a deep breath in. You're holding it?
Oh, I
Sorry,
love it.
James. I'm glad you didn't pass out.
Love it.
You
Love
held
it.
it the whole time, James. Amazing.
It was good. It was like being under. Oh, I'm watching. I couldn't watch myself in the background. Now, when I rewatch the video, I can watch myself, and it's going to be this psychedelic chakra releasing show.
It'd be cool if every color came up when we were doing it. I need that behind me, right? That's really cool.
But I think
There's music. I have an app on my phone that has all the chakras, and each one you press a different music. But I can never get music to work on Zoom, so it always sounds so weird. It cuts in and out, and it's distracting instead of helpful. So,
But I think if your backdrop was more creative with people,
oh god,
it would soothe you even. Oh, there we go.
Oh, is that better? If you were getting a neck and shoulder massage.
I'll massage your shoulders, James. Okay.
That's it. No, that was good. And listen, I almost, obviously no one knew this was going to go for the length of time that it did. I feel like if we could all go backwards and state by state say, wow, this is going to be 2 months for us, 3 months for us, New Jersey and New York, we'll see you in September. We could have planned better, because that was the thing, right? It was even when the BBR started on the 27th, we were like, hey, this is a pretty cool idea. Let's bring some educators together and talk. You can ask Derek and Andrew. We had no idea that the closures were going to last this long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. And it's so the grass is greener. Like first it was the grass is greener because people had jobs, they were going to work, and they're like, well, you get to stay home. And they're like, but you get to get paid. And now it's states that are open and states that aren't. And it's hard. It's a roller coaster. And, we each just need to manage our emotions on a daily basis.
And that.
Are you happy now that you're on 2 screens?
Well, I'm watching Derek's expression. I'll wait for a minute to the comment.
I was going to leave. Everybody that signed on late thought it was an education show with Philip. I would have been like, oh, see you later. I'm going.
Yeah, we can just keep that going in Cindy's salon.
Hey, listen, restaurants are closed in Jersey, but the bar is open downstairs. I mean, I could it's pretty easy. It's actually so much more convenient.
Well, actually, I'm already down there. Come on down for a beer.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks, you guys. Any final questions or final thoughts or?
Facebook and the Zoom, just lots of love. I think everybody actually needed that today. It's if it came with PPP instructions, it would have been the perfect solution to the entire COVID-19 thing that's been happening. It would have been fantastic. But everybody, lots of love for you guys, except for Philip. Everybody, I don't know, everybody loves you, but Philip, they're like daggers and little devil emojis and things. I don't know what's going on.
Love Philip. They tell me all the time.
You ask Andrew. He'll tell you who loves Philip.
Really? Does he have a list?
Oh, Andrew keeps
I
it
do. I mean,
I do.
thousands, a list of thousands.
Oh, if you would share that with me, that would be great. I'm kidding. Okay. We love you guys.
You guys,
and thanks
awesome.
again for everything
Thank
that
you
you've
so
done.
much for that.
And everybody that's tuned in every night, you know, keep being the amazing, amazing leaders that you are,
Yeah.
because it's, you know, the industry's counting on you.
Yeah. Take care.
We'll see you guys soon. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night, everybody.